Hey guys, today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/BS Wrestling Report. Over 150,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Once again, audibletrials.com/BS Wrestling Report.
Hey, this is Ken Shamrock, well, a.k.a. World's Most Dangerous Man. Oh, and also, a.k.a. maybe, depending on who you talk to, the godfather of MMA. My name is Ken Shamrock, and you are listening to
the BS Wrestling Report.
All right, folks, I want to say thank you for hitting the download stream button on your iPhones, computers, whatever you listen to us to. This is the BS Wrestling Report. I am Steve. With me is Brian and our new social media guy, Matt Beaver. You can follow us on Twitter at BSW Report. With us on the phone right now is a true legend in sports. He's a UFC Hall of Famer. He's a WWE legend. He's the baddest dude alive, the godfather of MMA, Ken Shamrock. Ken, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for that introduction.
You know, I do what I can, and I wasn't blowing any smoke up your ass at all. That is all. You know, your legacy, you know it, and we just want to say thank you for taking some time to sit down and talk with a couple ding-dongs who enjoy your career.
All right, well, that's cool, man. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. So I guess we'll get started off right on the rip. When you were a child, that's when you fell in love with MMA and wrestling. Am I correct, or can you help me out here?
Well, I tell you, when I was a child, I really didn't have a TV or get to watch anything like that. I had a really rough upbringing, so I really didn't get to really see or watch anything till I was about 13 or 14 years of age, and that's really when I really started to look and see pro wrestling and even sports to that fact. So, yeah, so, you know, really it was really my adopted father, Bob Shamrock, who really got me into pro wrestling because he was a big fan of it.
Who are some of the guys you you know, on the wrestling side that you grew up admiring, you know, just watching, and what made you fall in love with it?
Well, I tell you that I think the first match I ever seen, if I can recall, was Pat Patterson and Moondog Mayne, and I remember watching these guys go at each other, and I remember thinking to myself, man, these are some crazy fools, man. They like going after each other, howling and doing all kinds of stuff, and it was pretty entertaining to me being a young kid like that, watching that match. And then I even believe in that match that Pat Patterson even got some color. He started bleeding, and so it was pretty cool when I watched it for the very first time. It was different, and the understanding of it was pretty crazy. But that's really, I've seen a lot of matches along the way, but that was my first, very, very, very first experience of seeing pro wrestling.
Oh yeah, there you go. Getting into it about that young age there when it's everything's that magic is still alive for everything. That's where it's at right there.
Well, it was pretty young, and it was pretty. It wasn't as open as it is today. So when I watched it, and most people watched it, you didn't know kayfabe, and you didn't know all the lingo of pro wrestling. So it was at that time. It was, you know, to us, man, it was real.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's still real to me. So,
well, it's real to me too, brother. I'm the one that took the chairs.
That's the first thing that I had to say is you took a chair shot like nobody that I've ever seen, and I don't think I have ever will see. Those chair shots you took and the way you would call them forward with your hand, waving them in, priceless stuff, man. That was I thank you for giving me that entertainment. I don't know how your head feels about all that, but I think it was.
Well, for me, it was better than take it in the top of the head or behind the head. At least I got to see it coming.
Yeah, I guess you got that going for you. You got to take the good with the bad.
All right.
So, well, my first question, I guess we'll get into is, when did you start training in your training for, mixed martial arts and getting into all of that? How did and what age did that start, and how did all that come about?
I was actually doing pro wrestling at the time.
Okay.
I did some stuff over in New Japan with I believe it was Baba and Inoki when they split up New Japan, Old Japan, and I got to work with the Can-Am Connection, and that's really I was working with Gene Anderson and Nelson Royal at the time in Mooresville, North Carolina, where I really got exposed to the wrestling and really got to do some matches and really start understanding, really pro wrestling. And I tell you, that was probably my earlier years where I really got exposed to it. I went to Japan. I remember I went over there for like 6 weeks, and it was almost like being in college and getting all your courses jammed in a year period into 6 weeks. I learned so much in a short amount of time that when I came back and I was working on private circuits with Nelson Royal and Gene Anderson, I went from being somebody that was green coming into the organization to being almost a vet after coming back from Japan. I mean, I learned so much down there. And then after, it wasn't but probably a few months after I came back from Japan, that I ended up carrying the strap for North Atlantic Pro Wrestling because, like I said, I'd learned so much in a short amount of time when I went to Japan. And that's really what I think catapulted me into my future, really.
Wow, that's a heck of a story. And that was I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't realize there was a short pro wrestling career before the MMA career. I was not 100% aware of that. That's pretty cool to hear. So then, I was actually, which I think most people don't realize, is that I actually started out in pro wrestling. I was in Susanville and Reno, at different places at the time. And I remembered I was actually traveling to Sacramento every weekend to work out with Moondog Maine. Not Moondog Maine, but Buzz Sawyer. Reminds me of Moondog Maine because they both howl. But Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer. And I worked with him for a short period of time, too, trying to learn the ins and outs of pro wrestling. So that's, like I said, I really had started out doing pro wrestling before I was in MMA. And actually, Dean Malenko had introduced me to mixed martial arts that Sammy Saranaka was doing over in Japan. He lived in Florida, and Dean Malenko introduced me to Sammy, and I watched the videotape of Masama, Funaki, and Suzuki, two Japanese kids that were working against each other. I saw a videotape of them. And I remember saying to myself, I said, now that right there is what you call the ultimate in combat sports. And from that point on, I just started trying to get involved with it. He introduced me to Sammy. I went to Florida, tried out. I think it was 3 months later, I was in Japan doing a tryout. A month after that, I was in the ring fighting in front of 17,000 people. Man, you just kind of sped right along there, didn't you?
Dude, I'm telling you, man, that's kind of how my life was and my career was. I just kind of went, right into it.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. So what? I just got to ask this real quick question too. What was the news like? When you delivered to your parents? I always like to hear the answers. What was it like when you said, "Hey, I'm gonna go be a professional wrestler. I'm gonna start training for that"? How was that taken in the family there?
Well, like I said, when I was in, like I said, going through college, I played football. I pretty much ran, up as far as I was going to go in school. And it was time for me to do something else. And I remember my father said something about because we were doing stuff with Buzz Sawyer for a while in Sacramento. We just weren't getting anywhere with that. And then he ended up getting killed, overdose. And then, so we started searching other places. And then we came up with, Nelson Royal and Gene Anderson's organization in Mooresville. My dad sold his business. And we went up to Mooresville, and we started out there and started a career of pro wrestling. And then, so it wasn't really myself that was saying, I'm going to be a pro wrestler. It was my dad who actually thought that we should give it a try because I was very athletic. I'd done some fights. I kind of won some different tough mans, and I did some squatting, which was bare knuckle fighting, and I always won. And he thought pro wrestling would be a great avenue for me to, take my career in that direction, considering that I couldn't go any farther in football because I'd ran into, my educational problems, which I wasn't able to pass some of the scores to get into a university to play football. So we went that direction, and as you can see where I'm at right now, it just one thing led to another, man, and I just seemed like everything that I got into, especially when it came to combat sports or wrestling, I rose to the top. So it was a great decision. My father led me in that direction, and it turned out very well. So, like I said, I look back on it now, and, you know, I don't think there was anything else I could have done better.
No, you did everything that you could have done, man. That you made all the right choices. Everything was given to you right there, so that's awesome.
Hey, Ken, I wanted to ask you a question here real quick. Let's fast forward a little bit. Obviously, you made a name for yourself in Japan, in the professional wrestling world. Let's fast forward to about 1993-ish, about mid-'90s, when UFC started coming around. Now, you were a part of the very first UFC event in the Super Fight tournament, and, you know, that's how they organized things back then with the Super Fights. When you look back on your career and you're a 4-time UFC heavyweight champion, you're a super fight heavyweight champion, obviously your rivalry with Royce Gracie is well documented. The highlight, one of my early childhood highlights, was UFC 6 with you and Dan Severn. Just talk about some of the things that was going through your mind at that time period, and did you realize how much of an impact you were going to have in the world of sports and sports entertainment at that time?
I tell you, like I said when we spoke earlier, it was almost like my career just kind of like, it was like a shotgun start. You know, I mean, it's just that when it started, it was almost like it was going so fast I didn't have a chance to think or even understand what it is that I was doing and how much an impact that would have on the sport. But I know while I was in it, I know when I started doing the little pro wrestling organizations here, I became carried the strap in a very little amount of time. Then I had the opportunity to go into the Japanese Pancrase or whatever, Fujiwara or UWF, depending on what time it was during those times. And I remember when I went into those, with a very short amount of time of training, and I was able to become the face, and not only the face, but the very first Pancrase champion or mixed martial arts champion in Japan, in the country of Japan. And during that same time, as I was rising up through the ranks in Japan, becoming one of the best fighters in the world, Pancrase was kind of the stepping stone for UFC, because after 2.5 years in Japan and creating and building a name for myself as the best fighter in the world, mixed martial arts fighter in the world, UFC came up with something that was almost a little bit a step above Pancrase, which was bare knuckle, no rules, no time limit. And so, you know, same thing happened then when I jumped in there. I remembered it was, almost a year into the organization that I established myself as the best fighter in the world. Like, there was nobody that could beat me. Not only was I the best fighter there, I was the best fighter in Japan at the same time. So it was really, looking back on it and not having a chance to understand what I was doing at the time, but as we sit and look back at it now, I mean, that was something that was a tremendous spot for me to be in, because I was the best in Japan. And then I was over in the U.S., and I was the best in the U.S., and we were taking fighters from all over the world, not just from them countries, but from everybody in the world. And I was literally the champion of both. And then, you know, so for me, it was, I look back on it now, I saw myself going into pro wrestling because it slowed down. And as I was slowed down in pro wrestling, I jumped into pro wrestling and captured the Intercontinental title, the Tag Team title, Rookie of the Year, King of the Ring, all within 2 years of doing pro wrestling at the highest level you can go. And so I look back on it now and I think to myself, what an opportunity and what timing for me to be in those places at those times during the Attitude Era, during the startup of the organization in Japan called Pancrase, which is the very first real hardcore style. And then in UFC, which is obviously the beginning of what we, at that time, was bare knuckle, no rules, no time. And it was the first time ever that you had seen guys get in the ring with no rules and no time limit. and watched me rise to the top and become the best fighter in the world, running Hoist Gracie out of the organization. And so you look back on it, and I think to myself, thank God, you know, what a career and what an opportunity. And I tell you, it was quite a run for me, and I am so blessed that I had those opportunities. And the fans that supported me over the years, man, this is what I'm doing now, man. Reminiscing, being able to talk with the fans, being able to reminisce back in the old days and talk about the fights and the things that we had, and just be able to enjoy the career that we had.
And that is truly remarkable, and you have had one heck of a career. I mean, honestly, you were a great inspiration to many of people, including myself, especially throughout the 90s and with everything you did. You brought up the Attitude Era. I just wanted to touch on this real quick. Your stint in the WWF, the highlight of my childhood was, and we're talking about 1998, the height of the Attitude Era. We're talking about King of the Ring in 1998. Now, unfortunately, there was another match that preceded yours that kind of stole everybody's attention. But as far as 1998, King of the Ring, you know, what was going through your mind? Were you on top of the world at that point? Were you kind of, did you have bigger ideas for yourself in the future? Or, I mean, explain your experience and what was going through your mind at that time.
Well, when it was King of the Ring, I was thinking to myself, man, this is a great opportunity, you know, for me to be able to have an opportunity to win King of the Ring. I was next in line for the heavyweight title. And I was really excited because I thought that I was going to be able to have a chance to be able to challenge for that heavyweight title, because most of the time when you win King of the Ring, and the Intercontinental title, you're in line to get a run at the World Championship heavyweight belt. And those things just never happened, but, you know, I still, when I look back on it, and the amount of time that I had and the accomplishments that I did in that little amount of time, I believe is second to none. So, like I said, disappointment I never got the heavyweight title, but at the same time, pretty happy with what I was able to accomplish in a short amount of time.
Go ahead. Oh, I was going to say, I think it's pretty badass because those guys who carry the IC strap are the workers like you, Rock, Kurt Hennig. One thing I want to ask, Ken, and this may be very, very far-fetched. You were at the height of the Attitude Era, and Mike Tyson came in. Did anybody ever pitch the idea of you working against Tyson at all? Because I think that could have been some great TV.
Well, I thought I was the one that was going to go against him because I'm the one that actually called him out and brought him into the WWE. If you remember right, I was the one that got on the mic and called him all kinds of names and told him, come on out here, because I was going to be the one to whip his butt and put him into shape. And so I was the one that did that. And then when he actually got to the organization, they handed it off to somebody else.
I think that would have been pretty damn compelling to see two actual fighters, you know, on WWF TV, you know, just straight up, you know, you could have gloves on, gloves off, whatever you guys prefer, duking it out. That would have been some really, really compelling TV. Now, what was your feelings like when you were getting paired up working with Rock? Because, dude, like Brian said earlier, you've taken you take chair shots better than anybody I've ever seen in my 33 years of watching professional wrestling. And Rock would swing like he's Babe Ruth about to win the World Series. But how did you feel, you know, working with Dwayne in that segment?
Well, I tell you, what a great guy, great worker, and that was probably I had a lot of good ones. I was really fortunate to be able to work with a lot of great champions and a lot of good guys. But Rock has got to be up there in my top one or two of guys to work with. Great competitor, very serious about his work, and very professional. And it was really a pleasure and an honor to work with that guy because, like I said, I think that I know we both catapulted our careers up into stratosphere. So it was definitely a pleasure to work with him.
I'm going to tell you, your match at Mania 14, easily, it's in one of my top 5 all times. It just, from top to bottom, just entertains me. Now, I want to backpedal a little bit to Mania 13. And I don't know if you can break the kayfabe wall, but the ending of that match where Brett is standing at your face challenging you, was there any intentions for him to totally back down, or were you legitimately hoping he was going to take a swing?
No, like I said, I think that Brett was one of the guys that really helped me get involved with pro wrestling, and he really taught me the psychology of it. But I know this for a fact, and it goes all the way to Stone Cold Steve Austin and Bret Hart and The Rock and the guys that took their business serious. These guys were literally badasses, okay? And we got in the ring several different times, and we got after each other. And it's not because we disrespect each other, but it's because we respect each other. And that when we went in and we went against each other, we made sure the other guy knew we were there. And it's just, because it was the Attitude Era. We didn't want to be clumped in with the fluffy and puffy hair with the makeup on and the little dazzling little bullets on their shorts and, just being, too flamboyant. We wanted to be the badasses. And, so we went in there and we really went after each other, and we wanted fans to know that this is a different type of wrestling than what you're used to seeing, because you're going to get your money's worth and you ain't going to have to worry about whether or not we're hitting each other, because we are.
Yeah, for sure. And that was and that's what made it so entertaining, is that it wasn't just it wasn't delivered to you in some cheeseball way. It was delivered to you where you were all in. Like, as a fan, we were sitting there going, "Man, this is it. This is, anything could happen now. So this is legit stuff here." And that's what made it entertaining, is you didn't know what was going to happen and how real anything was. It really broke down all the barriers and changed the way that you looked at professional wrestling.
Yeah, like I said, you can definitely see the difference between the Attitude Era and the I don't want to point out eras, but there's just a different feeling about what we did.
Yes,
and I think a lot of it had to do with the timing too, because when Vince brought me in, that was what he was looking to do. He wanted to separate himself from the WCW. He wanted us to be the badasses, and legitimately the badasses. There was a lot of great athletes in the WWE, and that's what I think people fail to realize, is the guys that are involved, at least at that time. I don't know about now because I'm not in there, but I know that these guys are legitimate. These guys are tough guys, man. And that they, if it wasn't for an injury here or just got overlooked there, they're big athletes. Basketball, football, baseball, wrestling,
sure.
Whatever it was. Guys are legitimately athletes, good athletes. And so when we got in there during that time, bringing me in as an MMA guy and trying to capture the feeling of the MMA world into pro wrestling was what Vince wanted to do. Only way we could do that was to really go in there and really get after one another without breaking each other, but at the same time making sure that you had to go in and work your butt off, or we would just take over.
Yeah, that was it. So like I said, you guys put out a product that was nothing that had ever been seen before and hasn't been seen since. And maybe one day we'll cross our fingers, something like it will come back around again. So I just
they bring me back. They bring me back in, man. I can guarantee you they'll get it for real.
There you go. So I was put out a question on our Facebook page, or I put out a statement on our Facebook page asking if anybody had any questions, and I had a good friend from that listens to the show a lot, Mike Butler. He sent me in a question, said, what were your thoughts on the Brawl for All that the WWE put on?
Well, I thought it was really good. I did. And I thought it was great for a lot of guys who weren't really getting the attention that they deserved, but they weren't going to get unless they were in the Brawl for All. And so I thought it was good for some guys. For myself, it didn't make sense for me to do it because, I was the world champion. This is what I did. And when I got into pro wrestling, to learn pro wrestling and to be the best at pro wrestling as I can be. I was already the toughest guy in the world. And now I was trying to be the best pro wrestler in the world. And so I didn't want to go backwards trying to recapture something that I had already been doing. So, but I thought it was really good for wrestling because what it did was it brought in the realism of what it is the Attitude Era was about. It was about guys that were tough, guys that went in when they wrestled and they went after each other, and there was none of this patty cake stuff going on. Guys getting after each other, hitting each other, slamming each other, and being aggressive. on one another. And to me, that's what made the Attitude Era different.
The thing that kind of threw me off from the Brawl for All as a fan, at that time, obviously the walls of kayfabe had been torn down. We knew it was a work, but it was, you know what I'm saying. But so what threw me off for Brawl for All, to be honest with you, watching it as a fan, is I was going, am I being worked or is it real? And I couldn't tell. And I guess I just assumed it was. I always just assumed everything was really a work. So I think the package at all could have been wrapped up a little neater and a little tighter for me to understand that those guys are really in there beating the hell out of each other. But other than that, you know, I think there was, like you said, it put a lot of guys in maybe in that mid-card status. It put them on TV, gave them some time to show off what they got.
Right, and you too. And that was the whole idea, was for you not to know the idea of what was and wasn't, because if you didn't, how much better are the matches then? You know what I'm saying? But now you look at some of them, and I'm not going to bash on it, but look at some of them, and it's an embarrassment. You're like, come on. I mean, come on. I mean, it's like he's 3 inches in front of the guy when the guy throws a punch, and it's like, you can hit them. They're not going to break anything. And so when it was the Attitude Era, and when they were doing it then, that's the difference. Like I said, that was the difference. The fact is that guys did go after one another. For sure. And then Mike also had one more question he wanted me to ask you. He wanted to know what superstars, if any, past, present, you think that could compete in the UFC in that style of combat. If there's any past, present that you think could roll with the punches there in the UFC. Well, I think that, I'm not even going to point out, I'm just going to say a percentage, but I think 90% of the guys during the Attitude Era could have done very well in MMA, just because of the mentality they had. You could train them right. They were big, they were strong, they were athletic. And today, I think there's just it's more like 50% of the guys could probably compete in the MMA. So it has gone down, but as you're seeing, the product has gone down also. But there's a lot of great guys in it now. It's just that there's not a lot of great opponents for them. Yeah,
that's true. So, yeah, I mean, you look at them and you see the wrestling, and you just wonder who could really transfer it over to that real life. And somebody's really not pulling any punches on you. That's a whole nother world, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But like I said, these guys are athletes, and they're big, they're strong, and so I've always been in my mind that I think, athletes, if given the right opportunities, no matter what they're involved with, could actually transition into whatever sport they want to, as long as they put in the time, because they already have the mental discipline to be a professional athlete, and that in itself is challenging. And so if you can do that, then I think that if you've given the right time and the right training, you can also put it into something other sport, because you already have the mentality of a professional athlete.
There you go.
All right, Ken, I wanted to dabble a little bit into what you're doing today and what you've been doing for the past couple of years. Now, we all know that you are the godfather of MMA. You are a man who is influential in a movement, playing a leading role within it. Coming from
very good.
Coming from where you come from, and I didn't have the same exact background as you did, but I did have a very similar childhood growing up, and you mentioned that, and you touched on that early on in this show. Talk about what you're doing right now as far as motivation, the influence of sports, the inspiration to today's youth, and endorsement in products. Like, what are you doing today to pay it forward, so to speak?
Well, I don't know. Simplify your question. What is it? What are you asking?
Basically, what I'm asking is you're priding yourself on trying to better today's youth, today's troubled youth. Talk a little bit and dabble a little bit in how important it is to you in saving some of today's abandoned childs or troubled youth that went through a similar situation.
Well, listen, when it comes, and it's something that I'm very close to, only because of what my background, my upbringing. For me, I think being able to turn around and pay it back is is something that on my site, that I travel around. I speak to youth. I have a ministry, Lions Den Ministry, in which I reach out, which is based to helping out children, and just being able to talk to them and show them and understanding the experiences that I went through, and that some of the experiences that they're also going to go through, just because I know where they're going and where they've come from, and being able to help them make better decisions when they're faced with these different types of altercations or issues that they will arise at some time, which is, their past, whether they were beaten up as a child or molested as a child, or the parents left them, or they had drug habits, whatever the issues are. I've been through most of these things, and being able to help them understand the feelings that they have inside of them and some of the anger and the frustrations that will arise, and teach them how into something positive. When they get a bad feeling and they want to do something, you either get into, depending on what kind of personalities they have, either into drawing, able to voice them out through singing, or whether it's through something aggressive like boxing or wrestling or football, whatever it is that you feel good when you do. These are ways for these kids to be able to take these anger issues and these issues that they've had for whatever reasons that happened to them when they were young. They can vent them into something very positive and further their lives into something positive. And after they get to a certain age, they actually mature, and you start learning in an easier way. But again, like I said, these are things that are very important to me, and because I have already been through it, I still deal with them today, but I know how to deal with them, and I know the feelings, and I know when these signs come up, and I know how to deal with them now, and it's being able to pass it on to other people so that they can have the same kind of knowledge to be able to learn how to deal with theirs. So for me, that's what I'm doing, is being able to help the troubled youth. But at the same time, too, I also have an opportunity to follow me through the fight world and wrestling and all the other things that I've done. And there's even adults now who are in their 20s and 30s and 40s who grew up with me, watching me do all these things, that still have issues in their life, that I'm able to speak to them, whether they're in a business setting, or whether they're in a prison setting or a halfway house setting, or whether it's just in the regular world of walk, that I'm able to speak to these individuals also, whether it's in a motivational speaking asset, whether it's in a church, whatever the setting is. I also have opportunities which I travel around and I do those to speak to people in these settings, using me as the example, so that they don't feel like they're being pointed out. But if they need something, they can come to me and ask me. I have contacts on my website which people can get a hold of me and bring me out to speak and do whatever it is that they think might benefit their organizations. But again, like I said, that's kind of what I'm doing right now. But I don't stop at trying to be successful either, because life goes on after fighting, and you got to find other things to do. Turn what I've really created in the world into a business opportunities. And I've got ProFit 101 on my website, KenShamrock.com. Where you can go in and learn some fitness tips. I also, which is really something that I've really kind of locked into now, is my motivational speaking. I have contacts on my website where you could bring me in for speaking, whether it's business, churches, schools, whatever the case may be. I also do that. And the other thing that really is furthered my financial situation, really have shown a different light. I mean, in fact, if you want to call it speaking a different language in the financial world, I've taken my financial investments and learned how to invest in different businesses and companies, being able to get the right information I need to be able to make smart investments. And I think with most people, which to me I think it's a shame, because the market is out there, and if you knew how to use it properly, you could really take some of your investments and be able to invest them into these smart markets and be able to make your money back just by watching and getting information and putting your money in the right places. And that's something that I've really benefited from. And in fact I've also offered that to people that are coming onto my website that want to go to Grok Trading, which is a business partner of mine. And I'm taking mentoring classes, but at the same time I'm helping running the business because I'm getting a better handle on it. But, like even simple things as a stock mutual fund or an exchange fund, where most people don't know the difference on these things. And it's pretty simple to take the money that you're making in your life, and even some of the things that you put away, and be able to invest them into smart financial situations where you're going to make your money back. And that's what I'm doing right now. Really, most of my time right now, that's what I'm doing. And actually on my website at KenShamrock.com, if you go on to the site where you can buy T-shirts and the Fitness 101, there's a Grok Trading on there, where is what I'm a part of. In Vegas, if you go on there, you can find the information out. I'm actually taking classes, and you can find out the dates on that. I believe it's the 5th and 6th of November. Don't quote me on that because I'd have to look at make sure those dates are the right dates. But I'm going to be taking some classes in Las Vegas with my partner, and we're inviting people to take those classes with me. But before you even go there, if you just want to check it out, there's a class, it's a tutorial class on Grok Trading. It's 101, and that class is free for you to actually get your feet wet. Just look at it, check it out. And listen, I'm not trying to sell anything on this because, I know where I'm at. I know the financial investments that I put into this and what I'm getting back. It's tremendous. So I'm just saying to people that, man, check it out, man. If you want to make some money on the money you've already made, this is the way to do it. People have a misunderstanding about what they see on TV as far as stocks and bonds and things. You see guys biting their fingernails and people losing everything, and that's to me, that's ridiculous. Those are like gamblers.
Yeah.
People who don't get the information they need. They throw their money at something, and then they're sitting and waiting till the last hour, the last second, to see if it'll flip over for them and make billions of dollars. Well, that's just not real. I mean, it's real to those people because that's ridiculous. That's stupid. That's not a smart way.
No.
What we do is learning how to run a business. And the business is stocks and financial trading, learning and getting information that are going to be proper to your investments. And then you make your money back on. It's not like the fingernail biting type movie things you see. It's a legitimate business, and it's a good way to make money on the money you've already made.
There you go, man. Look at that. Ken Shamrock out there, never stopping the hustle, right? He's out there. He started out training his ass off, worked his way up through the wrestling game, into the fight game, back into the wrestling game. Now he's out there paying it forward, hitting out there, taking care of business, making money. Dude, this dude don't stop. Dude, listen, and you know what? Like I said, man, I'm giving back to my fans. I really love being involved, and as you see, I'm always doing interviews. I'm always trying to let people know what it is that I'm doing, just like my website, KenShamrock.com. Check it out, man. I'm serious. There's a lot of stuff on it. We have an Easter egg on there, which is really cool. You have to find it, though, because it's really small. It's in there. But for a while, everybody's trying to find it, couldn't find it. And a few people have found it now, and there's a private page on there. They can go on there and check it out. It's got a lot of interesting stuff on there. But, Sweet. Yeah,
that's a cool thing, too. If you find that Easter egg, check it out, man. And got a nice page on there just for the people that can find the Easter egg. But I don't want to leave that untold either. Like I said, I really love my fans. I appreciated the support they gave me over the years. And this is my way of giving back to them with stuff like Grok Trading, where they can get involved with me on this. It would cost them nothing for the one-on-one tutorial. And then to take the classes, I'm telling you, man, to me, that's an investment for your financial security. I just want to give back to the fans and let them know that I really appreciate what they've done to me over the years. And jump on board, man. Enjoy this with me. Check out my site. Go to Grok Trading. Find out the dates on that. Come on out and let's have some fun. Make some money.
There you go.
Ken, I have two. These are going to be my two final questions. The first one is, what, in your opinion, is your absolute favorite match ever in the WWF?
It'd have to be Stone Cold Steve Austin and Bret Hart I Quit match.
That match is I could watch that match any day of the week, twice on Sunday, hands down my absolute favorite match ever. My second question is, who is the one guy, either during the Attitude Era or present day, that you would love to have a program with in the WWE?
Oh, wow. There's a lot of guys out there, but I would have to say, if I could go back in right now and have a shot at the title and I could pick who I wanted it to be against, it would have to be Brock Lesnar.
I was hoping you were going to say that. Oh, my God, that would be some damn good TV. Holy shit.
Yeah, that to me right there would be a great opportunity because, man, I know him and I know me, and it would be one of those matches where there'd be some blood and there'd be somebody getting hurt.
Dude, I would not be able to turn the TV off for that. Oh my! I wish that could happen.
Yeah, that'd be an amazing night there. Question another one I got for you there, Ken, is what, if any, do you have any good road stories? I'd love to always ask anybody we got in here for an interview if they got any good road stories traveling up and down the road. I know you guys got to have some funny stories going on out there. Just wondering if you had anything that was funny for yourself.
Offhand, I really don't, but
right. Well, it's worth a shot.
One day, you guys, I'll remember one and I'll shout out. But as of right now, offhand, I don't.
All right, cool. Well, I just want to give you again a thank you for hanging out with us and just answering these questions, talking about wrestling, man. It's been a blast. But I think Matt's got another question for you.
Well, I don't have so much of a question, just more of a statement, and I just wanted to thank you, Mr. Shamrock. Thank you, Ken Shamrock, the great. I mentioned earlier how much of an influence you've been on my life, and coming from a troubled childhood like I did, I really didn't get to be as disciplined as I was, and following you when you were entered into the UFC Hall of Fame in 2003, that's when I decided to take up MMA. And without that 6 years of training in MMA, I wouldn't be the father to my daughter that I am today if I were following the same path as I were previously. And it was all because of you. So I just wanted to take this time to thank you, Ken.
Well, thank you so much for that. And I that's kind of my goal right now is to, I know I came up and I had a real hard childhood, a lot of bad things, and to be able to turn around and get other people to see the positive in life, and for me to be able to give back to them, to me that's what I'm doing now, and that's what I want to do. I have a website, and I've said it several times, KenShamrock.com. Go on there, check it out. There's an Easter egg. Find that Easter egg. Got some special pages on there for you. But most of all, it's just being able to get in contact with people. They want to bring me out, do some motivational speaking for whatever it is that you have, whether it's a church or kids or business, whatever. I love being involved with people. I want to give back to my fans, and this is something I'm doing. The Grok thing, like I said, I explained that to you. I think it gets a real bad reputation with movies and things like that, but I'm being serious. If you want to make money, you got to check this out, man, because I got out of high school, went 3 years of college, and I wasn't able to move on in college because I didn't have the grades I needed to. I couldn't even pass the SATs to go into a university and play football. So I was cut short because of my education. But when I got involved with this Grok trading, it made it really simple for me to be able to gather information and be able to invest my money so that at least I understand what I'm investing in and what the opportunities I have in the investment. So try this out, man. Like I said, I want to do anything. I just want to give back and give people an opportunity to have fun with me and stay connected with me. And if I can help somebody make some money, God bless me, man. I want that so much for my fans to be able to make money and be able to have a good life. So seriously, check it out, man. If it's for you, great. If it's not, still stay in contact and see me over my website, man. But again, thank you guys really for being able to allow me to talk and have fun with you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Well, again, coming from myself, again, thank you for sitting down and talking with us. It was a great honor. We had been really excited about this interview for the last couple of weeks now. Really, really excited about it. Sitting down and talking with Ken Shamrock is not something a lot of people get to say they did. So I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for all the years of entertainment that you provided for us and everything you're doing now these days. It's just awesome. So once again, you said you could hit you up on your website, KenShamrock.com, and then what was your Twitter? What's your Twitter handle again?
Yeah, it's at Ken. But on my website, you go on my website, KenShamrock.com. I have my Twitter on there. I have my Facebook, my Instagram. I've got a connection on there if you want to get in contact with me to bring me in for any kind of events or anything like that. So all of it's on my Facebook, man. If you just want to contact me on Twitter, it's at Shamrock Ken.
At Shamrock Ken on Twitter. Go to his website, KenShamrock.com. Make sure you follow him on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. Ken, once again, I say thank you. I believe we'll let the boys give one more thank you around the table, and then we're going to sign off here.
Matt, go ahead.
Thank you so much again. Thank you.
And Ken, I can tell you right now, you have at least one more Instagram follower in Brian, Matt, and I at the BSW Report. And I just want to say thank you. From the day you gave me your number on Twitter to today, you've been absolutely wonderful with us, and I just cannot thank you enough, Mr. Shamrock. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, I appreciate all you guys, and thank you. And I just, like I said, I really I want you guys to check out, just check it out. It costs you nothing, but
there we go.
I want to give back, and I want a few guys to come back on here and say, you know what, man, you guys, you check this out. Ken is definitely, he's true on this. He wants us to make some money.
There you go.
Go check out the Grok Trading, you guys. I'm not kidding you. Check it out. I promise you there'll be some things on there that you guys will be able to invest in and make money while your money's sitting there. I kid you not. Check it out, my friends.
Gotta love making money. Once again, Ken, it has been a pleasure, and a pleasure again. I hope that one day maybe we can reach out to you again. We can sit down and keep talking some pro wrestling, some MMA, get some more stories from you. I would love to do that somewhere down the road if our paths ever cross again. So hopefully you'd enjoyed your time, and maybe we could do this again for a part 2 here in a couple months or something.
It sounds great, man. Thank you, guys.
Sounds good, Ken. All right, man. Well, you have a great night, and again, thank you for your time.
Thank you, brother.
Thank
we'll
you,
see you, Ken.
Bye-bye. All right, folks, that was the world's most dangerous man, Ken Shamrock. I know Matt sent out a tweet. I sent out a tweet. Holy fuck, bro. I was marking the fuck out.
That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool sitting talking Ken Shamrock. And then it was just crazy hearing him get into the stories that he got into, his stuff that he's doing post now, right? With all this stuff about his financial trading and stuff. Man, you never guess a guy like Ken Shamrock's in there telling you how to hustle your money. But that's awesome.
It's like I expect to see, Boiler Room 2 starring Ken Shamrock.
So where are you at on the whole thing, Matt? How did you enjoy it? I know you're a big Ken Shamrock fan. Was that awesome sitting down just chatting it up with him?
I think the tweet that I sent out pretty much said everything about that. That was amazing. That was probably one of the highlights of my entire life.
Yeah,
and,
man, that was
I'm 31 I'm 31 years old, and that was I'm still kind of so giddy right now.
I'm not gonna lie, that was one of the few that I've been kind of nervous in as the phone was ringing and as he answered the phone. I was like, oh man, this is Ken Shamrock.
Hey Matt, I'll say this: your birthday is in 15 days.
Yes, it is.
You're welcome.
yeah. As much thanks as I gave to Ken, I definitely want to thank the two of you as well.
Yeah, no problem, man. Everything you've helped us out with. I know you're a big Ken Shamrock guy, so what the hell? Let's get down here and chat it up, right? So
yeah, absolutely, and that was definitely something.
Yeah, that was something.
So
that was one for the record books there.
that was definitely awesome. Now next week we have our boy Mikey Whipwreck with us. But I gotta ask this: who is watching Raw tonight because they want to, not because they have to?
I am. I'm going to watch Raw because I want to. I want to watch wrestling. I want to hope that it's going to be good and it's going to get better. But, I watch it.
WWE. Go ahead.
No, that was it. Go ahead, Matt.
WWE sent out a tweet today featuring Brie Bella and AJ versus Nikki Bella and Paige. So
right there, I'm not watching. I'm not.
I'm gonna head over to WrestleZone.com, Twitter handle WrestleZone.com, and start live tweeting this bad boy tonight and see what we get. I mean, it's the go home show for Night of Champions, right?
Yeah. I know Steve hasn't been very excited about it, and they haven't left me hanging with much to be excited about. But I don't know. What are you thinking about Night of Champions? Are you hoping anything? Are you expecting anything big there, Matt?
I'm expecting absolutely nothing. I'm expecting that this is going to be a special event, and it's just going to be, let's get on to the next pay-per-view.
Someone ask me that question, please.
Steve, what do you think of? What are you thinking that's going to happen Night of Champions?
The champ is here because it will so piss off the IWC, and I can't fucking wait to piss off these idiots. I want Cena to win.
I think that would be so dumb if they made Cena win. Like, it wouldn't make sense. Like, Cena just gets handed to him. He gets his ass handed to him at SummerSlam, and then they're going to come back at Night of Champions, and he just wins.
Vince has been booking Cena on Raw so he looks strong, so fuck it. Give him the belt, then let him lose it at Survivor Series and get it back at, Hell in the Cell, then lose it at the Rumble, get it back at the pay-per-view after that when he Elimination Chamber. Let's just fucking do it. When that man retires, I want him to be a 47-time world champion.
There you go, 47-time world champion. He's pretty excited.
Champ is here, the C Nation. You can't see me. I'm on the train.
Didn't see that train pulling up anytime soon, but I don't know. Like I said, it is what it. Is my statement. It is what it is.
Are you guys excited for anything like The Miz and Dolph Ziggler, Cesaro?
I'm excited. I'm excited for WWE 2K15 because the champ's on the cover.
I think that. We're gonna leave Steve alone here for a moment. I think
this is out of control.
I think that. I think that. The Miz and Dolph could have. There's possibilities there of good matches. I'm gonna be honest with you. The card itself, I'm not too. Like I said, hasn't been in my face too often. There, I've been very excited about it. So I know you got Brock and Cena, and I know you got the Miz and Dolph, and that's about the end of the card that I know of. I'm sure there's other matches.
I hope the Ascension comes out on Night of Champions.
Oh my God, him and the Ascension again.
They're ready. The tag team division needs it. They are
what
ready.
Tag team division?
Brian, and Steve's defense this time.
You think there's something there?
NXT TakeOver 2 was last week. The Ascension lost, and that right there is the indicator that the Ascension is ready for the call up. They've actually worked a couple matches on like Main Event or something like that.
Now let them come out and wreck the Usos.
What did you guys think? And Steve, I know you didn't watch this, so this question's only directed right at Matt, right? What did you think about the NXT? The NXT match they had on Raw last week? Did you think that was something of? Did you think that was cool? Did you think it was dumb? Did you think it was something to help boost the network and get people to watch NXT? I don't know. I thought it was kind of interesting.
It served its purpose, and I'm going to speak, not as like an NXT mark or anything. I'm speaking directly business. This match was perfect. It was great. I gave it a 10 out of 10 because of what it did. It served its purpose. It didn't really focus the talents or showcase the talents of every single individual, but what happened, and you can tell by the reaction in the crowd, especially when the red arrow hit from Adrian Neville, his finishing move, that they just haven't seen stuff like this before in a WWE ring, and maybe they have, they've seen death-defying stuff, but Adrian Neville's finishing move and Sami Zayn running all over the place, it definitely served its purpose for I think it was only like a 5-minute match.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't no Broadway blockbuster or nothing like that, but it was just it got that NXT brand kind of in your face for a moment. So
in my opinion, because I am an NXT mark, I actually people who know me and follow me on Twitter, I prefer watching NXT over Monday Night Raw, especially recently. But with this little 5-minute segment that they had, this little match that they had, in my opinion, this was the highlight of last Monday night's Raw. Randy Orton and Roman Reigns just didn't do anything for me as the main event. You know what I mean? So
Matt, how can my fellow members of the C Nation follow you on Twitter?
C Nation, your members of the C Nation can follow me on Twitter at ESPN Michaels Jr.
There you go. ESPN Michaels Jr. Follow Matt. He's got some good tweets going out there. You can follow him on WrestleZone.com, their Twitter handle as well, on the live tweeting nights, which is always fun to do. I don't know. I think the NXT was. I think I think it was pretty fun. It was fun that they put it out there in front of your face, right? They got it going, got you talking about it. Did you see the Facebook post today that was put out that the WWE is encouraging you to bring your $9.99 signs to the live events?
Fuck that.
Did you? I thought it was hilarious.
Is that serious?
Yeah.
Dude, WWE seriously sent that out. I literally typed in a comment. I said, "Fuck you and fuck this. I'm out." Literally, word for word.
They put out there, bring your $9.99 sign and we'll take pictures of it and put it on our Facebook page, and then you could scroll through and see like maybe I don't know. There's like 20 pictures of there that people had like different $9.99 signs, network kind of things, and it was pretty funny to me.
You know what's funny about that is the three of us are especially Steve, we're like, fuck you and fuck that and fuck this marketing, F-bombs everywhere.
But it's working, right?
It's going to work. It
is working because the people, not our listeners, the people are idiots.
Well, people like to get involved, though, and if there's a chance, and then they're hitting that market where people can get involved and get online, and they can have their picture on the Facebook page of WWE, and they can hashtag it WWE Network 999 or whatever it is. There's a special hashtag they want you to tag it with.
Steve, I want to ask you a question because you're throwing out this idiot stuff. I just want to ask this question. Obviously, we're the smart fans, quote unquote.
We're the smart marks, yes.
Smarks.
Okay. Steve, how many WWE T-shirts do you have in your closet or dresser at the moment right now?
I have a Zack Ryder shirt, the one with the barcode on the back that says "Spike your hair" before they took it off because of Spike TV, and 316 shirt I bought off eBay. So it's not a WWE authentic. And
okay, so you have two outdated
shirts, right?
Soon
to be
two outdated shirts.
Soon to be a C Nation shirt. I'm all over it.
I mean, I doubt that. I'm just saying, we're the smart fans, but we're not the ones that are piling money and all, buying all this merchandise. It's what you call, quote unquote, stupid fans, your non-listeners. Those are the ones that are providing lifestyles for every superstar in the WWE. Those are ones that are going out there buying the tickets, buying the merchandise, buying all these different things to provide the WWE in moving forward. It's not us, even though we're the smart ones.
I'll tell you this much.
So the $9.99 gimmick is okay.
The only reason why the WWE is getting $9.99 from us because as soon as Brian does the gimmick about audibletrials.com, they pay for it. And plus, I'm sick of using VIPbox.tv to watch pay-per-views and having the computer rest on my lap. This way I can watch it on my fucking 60-inch TV, which is absolutely beautiful. That's the only reason why. My two shirts I got, they were bought for me. Suck it.
Steve gets confused with business. He gets mad at people making money sometimes. Right? He just got did you listen? Hold on. Did you hear what he said though? He was all mad about the $9.99 gimmick, right? And the and the T-shirts and I don't give him my money. But then he wants you to, then we're going to give a plug here in a little bit to go on to audibletrial.com/BS Wrestling Report and get yourself a free audio book and a 30-day free trial. And that kicks back a little money to the show, right? And that's a little bit of what we call advertising. And that advertising there pays what we call the bills. And the bills come into everybody, whether how big or small they are there, Steve-O. So business is business. Make your money, player. Get your dollar. $9.99. Hold up your signs. I wish I would have thought of it. So that's all I'm saying.
But I mean, it just to me they're over. They're playing the people for idiots.
Yeah, but you got to look though. They are, and it's fun though, is what it is. You got to let go of the seriousness of it and just let go and go, dude. It's just fun because it's just fun. And if somebody has a chance to get on the internet from WWE, right? How much bigger? And you're a fan. The biggest pat on the back, right, is getting a pat on the back. Like, it's getting retweeted from your favorite wrestler, retweeted from your favorite actor. You're going, they acknowledged me.
Well, good. Oh, good. Then we have been retweeted by Eric Bischoff, Ken Shamrock, Devon Dudley.
Exactly, and they acknowledge us, and all these
Bischoff.
people want to be as acknowledged by their $9.99 sign. So that was it, man. I didn't think this $9.99 comment would bring up such an argument.
Paul Heyman is on my TV. We got to wrap this up.
All right, yeah. So I don't know. I'm about done. Matt, you got anything to wrap it up with before we head off to the Night of Champions and Monday Night Raw and just anything? Sign it off with?
I have I have absolutely nothing, man. My night is made. This has been a great night. Thank you, guys.
All right, yeah, no problem, man. Once again, follow Matt, ESPN Michaels Jr. on his Twitter. Follow WrestleZone.com for their Twitter, as Matt does the live tweeting for them over there. Follow us at BSW Report on Twitter. Steve will be ranting and hooting and hollering over there. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/BS Wrestling Report. That's blowing up right now. We got about 400 people following us over there. Follow us on there. We're posting questions. You can get involved in the comments. You can help us ask questions. You know, we'll throw your name out there, give you a plug. It's fun, right? Follow us on Instagram, BS Wrestling Report on Instagram. All that fun stuff. Join us on the website, bswrestlingreport.com. Get the podcast on iTunes. Get it on Stitcher. Rate, subscribe, review. Hit up our sponsor at audibletrial.com/BS Wrestling Report. You get yourself a free audiobook, get a 30-day free trial. It's a good time. If you cancel it before 30 days, they don't charge you anything. You got a free book. You're out the deal. Life is good. They kick us back some money. We get to watch pay-per-views. We get to talk about them on the internet, and you get to listen to them. It all works out. So simple as that, man. You don't have to pay for the podcast, but you can pay for it by getting a free audiobook, and that pays us, and we like that because we can do this shit for you for free and keep the lights on. So, as that is it, Steve, I'm signing off. What do you got for me?
The champ is here.